Welcome to Monster Monday, continuing on with the It's Alive trilogy with our sandwiched middle film, the sophomore effort.
It lives again.
Did you know? And this is, I guess, still how it is in some places that there's like, what is it, like freshman, junior, and senior? And there's like no sophomore year, and they only do 3 years of high school.
Like in other countries? Like
No, they used
overseas?
to have it here,
Oh.
but I've talked to people who are like, yeah, I was in my freshman year or I was in my junior year, and I'm like asking them about it. And I was like, well, what about your? I think it's the sophomore year that isn't there, or
I've
maybe it's the
never
junior year
I've
that I'm.
never heard of this.
Yeah,
That's weird. So
it
they
was
just have
weird.
like a longer either senior year or freshman year?
No, I think it's like middle school, which I don't even think they have a middle school. I think it all just goes like
Oh,
their grade school goes up until
ninth
like
grade.
freshman their year is like our sophomore year.
I see.
Anybody
So
anybody do that? Anybody have that
so they
going on where
start
they're at?
high school in 10th grade instead of ninth grade.
Yeah,
I see.
exactly. Super weird.
I don't know. I had the 4 years of
Anyway,
high school.
anyway, totally random. I said the freshman sophomore thing, and then I was like, all right. So it lives again. This has a pretty iconic cover for me with the slash through the birthday cake from an angry baby that's like, where's my birthday?
Yeah. Very
Um
angry.
all right. So is this a direct sequel to the original? Yeah,
Yeah, it
it
is.
actually
It
is. I
is.
didn't know what to expect. I remembered almost nothing with this film. I knew there was a boy and a girl
Mm.
and that they were like talking about them reproducing. This is once again, this reminds me of, I would assume, is what inspired Basket Case, because this is the same shit that happens in Basket Case with Belial in the sequel, right? He
Yeah.
like gets himself a girlfriend and they mate,
I
and
never saw the sequel.
yeah.
That's
So
funny though.
and then the third one, yeah, is like about their baby, which the third one of this is like Island of the Alive. This is like, what I would assume is a bunch of these things have mated, and
Well, that's what they like were saying in this one is
yeah,
like that they had a boy and a girl, and the plan was that when they get older they would
yeah.
mate. So
They said they could mate around 6 or 7 years old, because
crazy.
when they're born,
It's
they're like
crazy.
21 months old mentally, and I guess physically, and that's why they're able to be like
I don't know
as
about that.
physically,
Yeah.
you know, active as they can be, even though we never see them move. They're always just like a doll that's sitting there.
100%. There's a few
Um,
times that they move in this, but like it's very funny
Barely.
when they're like in the compound and they have like the cages and there's just like inanimate dolls like sitting there and then like the baby like crying sound is played over them.
Yeah,
Very funny.
and then of course you get the close up of them, and it's just like people in costumes or makeup being like, "Arr, arr,
Yeah.
arr." This is funny that this franchise thus far, the whole draw of these movies is the creatures, the babies, right? Like, it's that's what people are there for. It's a monster movie that people want to see the monsters, and they build all this story, and they are focusing on the humans, and they really don't have the monsters to show.
Yeah.
Like, they'll show them in the background, and then we get like a couple close-ups of them, but it's really funny to watch a monster movie where the main reason people are there, like, they like almost never show them, because they're so small, they don't know how to make them work, right? Like, so like with bigger monsters, you can put a dude in the suit, or you have more room for like mechanical things inside of it that you can move around. And this was done by Rick Baker. Like, the makeup and the effects in this is Rick Baker, man. This is American Werewolf in London. I mean, this is like the dude.
Yeah.
So if he can't make it work, it's like, I don't know what you want me to do with like a thing that's this big. I can't get
Yeah.
a guy in there, right? And it's hard to hide like,
They needed to
animatronic type
have
stuff.
the people that did Chucky, that did Child's Play.
Yeah, but you're talking, I
That's what they
mean,
needed. They
that's
needed like,
1988.
I know
This is
it's
10 years
this
before
is
that.
before it, but that I think this would have worked better like 10 years later. Cuz it's just yeah, like as a monster movie, I think it's pretty lame.
Yes.
Um I feel bad for them still. Like I continue to feel bad for these babies.
That's the
And like
You
I don't
don't see
know,
the
but
irony
it's
of that, because that's the folly of this entire film,
I know. Is that the
is that
father
Frank is
from
like
yes.
helps them out, and they should have just killed it right when it came
I
out.
feel like there's a reason though. I feel like it's because like he's taking the babies away. He's taking the baby away from his mom.
Yeah, but that's gonna happen inevitably.
Yeah, I do
And
see the folly in it, but I don't know. I guess it's just because they're babies. I feel bad for them. I feel bad for most monsters though, especially when they're like they didn't ask for it. They like didn't. They just were made this way because of the supplements that were being given to them, given to their moms.
yeah,
So
but a disease doesn't ask to be made that way, and it
yeah.
still kills people, and we still need to eradicate it, right? When the Black Plague was going
Well,
around,
you're the father, the new father in this, who at the end of it is like he like decides, right? Wait, no, I'm misremembering. He doesn't. He gets on the side of the babies in this. He has a moment where he's like, I think I'm gonna kill them, but then he gets his mind
I mean, he
changed.
ultimately, he's throughout the film, he wants the babies dead, and he kind of flips like Frank for a minute, but he ends up being like Frank in the end and going around and warning parents. I don't know
Yeah,
what his role is post what happens, right? Like, I don't know if he's trying to tell these people, you got to kill the baby,
right.
right? Like, I tried, like you probably will, but it's for no, it's no good. You gotta get rid of them. So I don't really know how to read the very, very end of the film with Eugene, and now that he's become Frank, since Frank is killed off in the film. But it appears to me, I would hope that he's learned from Frank's mistakes here, and it's like, no, these things are fucking monsters. I'm sorry, it sucks, but they gotta go.
Yeah,
And that's just the reality of the situation. Right? They're straight predators. They are just gonna kill anything and everything that gets in their way. I don't think there's any way that you could domesticate them. So to me, nah, they gotta go. So they're just they're not meant to be. They're freaks of nature.
I
And
understand.
not in a good way.
Yeah.
Music is awesome once again.
Yep.
This is Bernard Herrmann. Frederick Forrest plays Eugene, our main character father in this. He's kind of the Frank of the movie, but Frank is in the film. It's just that the father this time around is a guy named Eugene, played by Frederick Forrest, who I know from one of my favorite teen comedies of the 80s, Valley Girl. Plays Julie's father in that movie, and anytime I see him, I'm always excited because I love him in that film. He's been in tons of other things that I've watched. He plays the nutbag freaking military guy in Falling Down, which I don't think you've ever seen. Falling Down with Michael Douglas,
I don't
Robert
think
Duvall.
so.
It's
I don't
fucking
remember
awesome.
it.
It's awesome. Definitely got to show you that one day. And there's tons of things I've seen him in over the years, but that's always the one Valley Girl's the one I always think of. So it was very exciting to see him here. I didn't know he was in this. And so yeah, we go to, I think, I can't remember how many years later this is, but Frank's name is known
Yes.
around the country or around the world as like the dad of the freak baby.
The
And
Davis monster.
the baby is the baby's in Seattle, or the
Uh-huh.
baby in Seattle is actually mentioned. So
Yes.
there is some continuity here where they do
It's
talk
more
about it.
than mentioned. It ends up being like the Dr. Fairchild.
Yeah.
It's his
Yeah.
baby.
The guy who's
He's
like 80 years old and he's like, I
yeah.
had that baby 2 years ago. There you go. It's 2 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you had it when you were 78?
Yeah. It's his baby.
I
Sorry. Excuse me. I'm so
It's his
yawny today.
great grandbaby, I hope. This dude was
No, it's his
so
baby.
old
Yeah.
to be like, I had a kid two
It's like
years
I am
ago.
also a new father.
I couldn't believe that.
No, I mean he's like we always wanted it. Like we've always tried, and then like it just kind of happened because they were given
But then she
the
went through
supplements.
menopause 30 years ago,
Yes.
and I thought
I mean,
there'd be
hey,
no
this is
way.
the 70s, so it's possible that he's like
He's
married
like 45 years old.
to. Well, it's possible that he's either 45 years old actually and just looks like he's 70,
Yeah.
or that he's just like married to a 30-year-old.
I mean, that's you say that like that doesn't happen today.
I just am. I think it's more like shown in movies in the 70s. There's like always like a much bigger age gap in older films where
Yeah,
you have like the leading man that's like 65 and then the romance is like 25.
it still happens.
It does still
Still
happen.
happens a
It does
pretty
still
decent
happen.
amount. We've just talked about this with Kindergarten Cop 2 and
Oh
other things that
yes,
we've talked
yeah.
about recently. There's usually a pretty big age gap
Maybe it's
between.
just that the people nowadays have like more plastic surgery and like
Yes.
Botox and stuff, so the guys don't necessarily look like they're 75.
Well, this is like Tom Cruise and Rebecca Ferguson having a romantic relationship in the Mission Impossible movies when Ethan Hunt's like 60 and Ilsa Faust is probably 32,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So I
It
don't know how
happens.
old Ethan Hunt is supposed to be, but Tom Cruise, the actor, is like 60, and and Rebecca Ferguson, am I? Yeah, Rebecca Ferguson. She's like 32, 30 something.
Yeah.
So and now he's traded her in for Peggy from the Avengers movies.
Uh
Yeah. Now
yeah.
Haley Atwell,
Mhm.
I think that's her name. Um, so and she's got to be that same age.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no, it's still
It still happens.
still
So that's
happens.
probably what's going on here.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah,
we don't
it's
see her, so we don't know.
we don't see her, but this yeah,
I
it's
thought maybe they were going along the lines of like she was a high risk older woman, like a 60-year-old woman who gave birth, and that's like maybe what spawned this whole thing was he was trying to get his wife who was way past the age that she was supposed to be giving birth, and he like fucked with her genetics or whatever, and this was going to
oh,
be a
I see. I
reveal
see. Yeah.
of like how this all ended up
That would have been
coming to be.
interesting. That would have been very interesting. Like it's all because they wanted a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no, it's just that there are other victims of the same thing.
Because you
So
could go down the route of like, yeah, it was like a genetic experiment. You could go down the route of like, you know, she would get pregnant, but then she would miscarry after
yeah,
like 4 or 5 months. So I had to speed the process of up the baby
I think the
because
baby steroids.
yeah, pretty much, so that she could have a faster baby, right?
Yeah,
Because if she loses it in 4 or 5 months, if I can get the baby to be fully grown by the
yeah,
third or fourth month, then maybe she could hold the baby that long because
bro.
she's only held a baby 3 to 4 months previously. You know what I mean? I thought
Baby.
that's what they were gonna go with for a second when he said it was my kid, and I was thinking of like, well, if his wife's like his age, this could actually explain a whole hell of a lot.
Baby speed grow.
Because I want to say the oldest woman that's ever given birth is like 60.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Of course, it was with medical intervention, and that's kind of
Hmm.
like what I was.
Thinking what's going on
Yeah,
here. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I don't
So
know. That would have
anyway,
been an interesting idea. Maybe we'll get more backstory in the next one, like really about how they started.
speaking of backstory, we do get added context here that adds to the original film, and I actually think does give some credibility towards wanting to protect the original child. I think that after we see what happens with all of these babies and that they're killing, whoever's in their way, and it doesn't really matter. I think, yeah, they definitely need to be put down. And I don't think there's enough uh like focus put on this, because I think this is a huge development and a lot of added context to the first film. But we find out that the first baby was the doctors tried to suffocate it right when it
Mm.
came out, and it was protecting itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to die. And if you have, like, you come out and something's trying to snuff you out, you have every right to fucking defend yourself, and you
Yeah.
go around and you kill things because you're scared, and then you're just like, I want my mom. That makes perfect sense to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, it's good added context because it's like you don't really know, like, as it is, it's just like the baby was like crazy when it came out, but they already knew, they already had a, like, they already knew that that's what was going to happen, that the baby was going to be born like that. So they were there to kill the baby. Yeah, it makes sense. And the
Not the
other,
first one. In the first film, they didn't know what the hell to expect. It's the second film where they knew the baby was going to be evil.
no, the way I thought the way he said it was that they were expecting, like they were already prepared for that baby.
In the first
That's what
film?
I thought he said.
No, because in the first film, it's very obvious that they just think they're delivering a normal baby, and when it comes
Mm.
out, they're like freaking the fuck out and try to
I
strangle
don't
it.
know what he's talking about then. What do you mean? What, the first baby? Like in this one? This isn't the first baby. There's already like two
No,
babies.
no, Frank's baby is what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this movie, we're talking about Eugene's baby.
Yeah.
They know, and Frank has to
Yeah.
come in and save that baby from them
Hmm.
having a team
I
together.
misunderstood. I thought that Frank was also saying that like they knew about his baby as well in this film is what I mean, not necessarily in the first film. But I thought he was also saying that they like were aware of the situation
I don't
for
think
his baby.
I don't think that anyone knew what was happening. I think Frank's baby's supposed to be the first one. Then, the doctor's baby is the second one.
So
Because
when
that's the big reveal at the end of the first one, is there was another one born in Seattle, and they'd never heard of anything like this before. So this is the first incident. Frank's baby is the first incident. So I don't see why. Now they try to come in and play cover up to try to figure out, like, was this our products or was this whatever? But there is no indication in the first film that anyone knew that there was anything wrong with this baby. Now, once it comes out and it looks like a freak and it's fucking got claws and it's like, looks like it's scary as fuck, these doctors are like trying to kill it. That makes perfect sense to me, that they were like, no, this thing has got to die. Like, it's a bold call, because you probably get sued out, out of your license for killing a newborn baby. But yeah, no, I don't see any indication. Now, if they're saying that in this film, if that's like added context that you're saying is happening here, that, oh, these doctors
well,
knew your baby was gonna be fucked up, that is a retcon, because those doctors and nurses in the first film 100% have
that's what
no
I
idea
thought because that's
anything's
what I'm
coming.
confused about. What baby are you talking about then? Like what baby would he be referring to? That they tried to smother it when it came out.
Frank's baby, what do you mean?
Okay, that I don't understand. Frank's baby is the baby from the first film.
Correct.
But
So
you're
when it
saying that
comes
they
out, they
didn't.
see it and they're like, kill it.
That's okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
They don't
That's what I
know
was
it's going to be
confused
crazy. I
about.
don't.
You're just saying that they weren't prepared for it. I thought you were saying, like, I was very confused about all of that.
Wait, you think they saw it as like a normal baby and then
No,
tried to kill it?
no, I thought that they knew what was going to happen is what he was saying in this film, and then I was getting confused by what you were saying as well. So I don't know. It
That
was
in
throwing me off.
that they thought they knew Frank's baby was going to be a freak?
No, it doesn't matter. I was just very confused about all of that because it doesn't matter. But
Okay. I
anyway,
don't understand what you're confused about, but all
it
right.
was just the way that you were saying that they, I don't know. I guess I was just confusing the like, I thought they said he was going to smother the baby because they knew that the baby was already, like,
No.
they had that in mind. And then you were like, no, they didn't know. And then you were still saying that they were going to smother the baby. So I was like, but what do you mean? I thought that they didn't know. Do you understand why, like, what I mean?
I guess I get
But
what you're saying, but I mean, yeah, it's just very clear to me that it they thought they were delivering a normal baby, and when it came out a freak monster, they were like, "You have like
That's
kill
pretty
it
messed up to be like,
immediately,
I'm just gonna like,
snuff it out."
yeah,
Yeah, I mean
because
it
you assume it didn't
legally,
attack them until they tried to murder it.
but that's the added
So it's
context.
just
It's
like
like
they literally just saw the way it looked and they
it's
were
just
like,
yeah,
gotta kill it.
got to kill it.
So that's really messed up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. That's what I'm saying. That's why I am like, it gives credence to this idea that, the baby should probably be protected because it was just trying to protect itself from
Yeah.
being murdered. It didn't know any better. Even if they did know beforehand, it has every right to defend itself. So whether or not they knew beforehand or not, I don't think they did. But even if they did, they're still trying to kill the baby,
Yeah.
right? So like if they knew the baby was going to be a monster, they would have killed it before it even came out, right? And that's we have ultrasounds, we have an ability to look at these babies, and if they are creatures like that, then
They are creatures.
you have to perform some of them late term abortions.
That's what they tried to do here. They also, he says that they like, in this film that they were like tracking the other potential pregnancies by like following the characteristics and the blood type of the mom or whatever,
Yeah,
and that they've actually like had some ones that weren't,
they
that
said
they were
there's
like
some
false alarms or
accidents.
accidents or whatever, so they like killed normal
I
babies.
didn't
I
Yeah,
don't really know how you could do that because the normal babies look normal.
they look normal. I honestly, I don't know. I was wondering that myself. I wrote that down as in like, what do you mean by accidents? You mean like false alarms, and you like the baby
Either,
came out and it was fine, so you're like, okay, like put the team away. We don't have to kill a
yeah,
baby today. Or did they like kill it
yeah,
and then take it out and be like, oops, it's a normal
yeah.
baby?
I don't know. I assumed that they killed them because I don't know why it would be an accident.
Yeah, exactly. The word accident made me think they killed these babies, but why would they kill these babies? Like, you can do an ultrasound and see that the baby is misshapen and see that it has like claws for hands. That would be a really easy indicator of like, yeah, it's one of those monsters. This is 1978. Pretty sure they had ultrasound technology at that point. So I don't see why they wouldn't do that.
Mm.
Um, Now, if they don't have ultrasounds,
I don't know. I don't know when ultrasounds were invented.
yeah,
If they didn't have ultrasounds, they'd have no way of knowing what it looked like at all.
Nick, can you X-ray a pregnant
I
woman, or is
don't
that
think so.
bad?
I don't think you can X-ray them.
Just one quick X-ray and see, that the thing has a claw for a hand. I don't know. I would assume that they have ultrasound at this point. Now, if they don't, then that maybe takes away from it. But anyway, regardless, killing it while it's still in the womb and then wondering what's in there when it comes out and being like, oh, oops,
Yeah.
that seems
They're like, we have to wait for
really
them to
fucked
be
up.
born so we can be
100%.
sure.
You just, as soon as you see the head and you see it's one of those freaking babies, you just have the little,
Have a gun right there.
the little cow gun.
Bro, messed up. I
Yeah.
guess it's one solution.
I mean, the baby doesn't know it's coming,
Nope.
right? Anyway, so they Frank and his team, they take the doctor hostage and deliver the baby in a truck. And then they switch in the tunnels or whatever, and then the doctor somehow says to let Frank go, and the cops are like, all right, what, since when does the doctor have
I
the
think
say?
that the doctor is also like some military guy or something. I felt like he had two roles. I felt like he was a doctor, but he
Unless
was
he's a
also
police
like a
chief.
police officer.
He's not the
I
he's
don't
not the
think he
chief
would
of
have
police.
like authority to tell them to let him go anyway. But they kind of just like he drives them. Like he just like takes him into custody himself.
The only thing I can think in the moment is that they're thinking the only grounds we have for arrest here is if the doctor presses charges.
I don't think that's true at all, though, because like, okay,
He
that
held,
whole scene
yeah,
is ridiculous. From the beginning when they get there, like after Frank warns them, and they're like, and then they get to the hospital, and it's just like 500 police officers there, and they're like, this is not normal. The second that Frank gets there and has a gun and is like forcing them to, that would be a
yeah,
crime.
it's
That would
kidnapping.
be a crime.
And yeah, lawful endangerment, and yeah, you definitely have some crimes
Yeah.
for
But
sure.
he like the whole time when he's taking it on, he's like, no crime has been committed here. Nothing has happened. Like
I mean,
he's like, go ahead, take me to court. Like we'll see. I'll get my lawyers. And it's like, what are you talking about?
I agree with him. I do think that it would be a hard case for them to win, because in court he would be like, they were planning on executing a baby, and I came in to save the baby. Good luck arguing against that in
I mean, I
court.
think that the besides that though, because they would just be like, well, the baby's a monster and like needs to die.
Yeah,
It's
but
more
who's making
like
that
you
choice?
don't have to go to the hospital to give birth. Like you don't, you're not forced to be there.
No, but
So
that was the choice that she made, and he couldn't force her to stop. He couldn't stop her. Now, would it have been smarter for him to wait outside the house with the crew and stop them before they went to the hospital? Yes.
yeah,
Right. So you just wait for her to go into labor, you hang out outside the house, and then as soon as she comes out and she looks like she's going to the hospital to go into labor, you come up and you take her and you say, hey, that would probably, I mean, that's kidnapping as well, but they kidnapped her anyway. They like needed her to see what was going to happen and then come in, but this is like some cockamamie plan to get past hundreds of cops. I don't know what, realistically, would there be hundreds of cops there to take out a baby? I'm
yeah.
going to go with no. I would say you would need just a doctor and maybe a cop or two. Um, but yeah, you just killing a baby can't be that complicated. Like when it's coming out, if you see it's a monster, you just a little needle in it and it's gone.
Yeah, I guess you should do it.
I should
You
do
should be
it.
the monster
I
killer.
should be.
You should be the baby monster killer.
I think I'm gonna pass
I feel
on
like
that.
it's easy.
I like how the mom in this Jody. Jody has a completely, or is it Judy? I wrote.
I don't know what her name is.
That looks like an O. Jody, she has like a completely flat stomach right after having a baby.
Yep.
It's a neat trick.
Instantly flat.
She needs to go online and make some buku bucks teaching women how to get completely flat stomachs days after giving birth.
Yeah, she should make a pyramid scheme with it.
Pyramid scheme? She
Yes.
doesn't need a pyramid scheme.
No, because it would all be fake. Because she's like, I wasn't actually pregnant.
Oh. Well, you just have to have a monster baby.
It was a movie.
You just have to have a monster baby.
That's the secret.
That's the secret. They think that these babies are like the next step in evolution that can survive any kind of like pollution, contaminants, or nuclear freaking holocaust.
It's stupid. I don't know why they think that. These babies haven't shown like literally any other qualities to them that would be like they're the next step in evolution.
Yeah.
Other than just that they're like they have claws and kill people. Why would that be the next step in evolution? Like it would be different if they all like the babies like come out and they like can talk and they're like ultra smart.
Yeah.
And they're like plot, or even if they can't talk, like they're super smart and they're like plotting things and like moving stuff with their minds or like, you know what I mean? But they're just like, they just have talents.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the current running theories right now, is that autism is the next step in evolution because we don't use our physical bodies as much anymore. We prioritize our brain, and we're needing to speed up our ability to process information faster because we're on our phones and because we're on computers and because the world is moving with this hustle and bustle kind of rate to it. That the next step, our bodies are like, purposely putting like it's like a you're making your character in a video game and you're adjusting the attributes.
They're like they
You have
put
to
all their points in
They're putting all the
intelligence.
points in the brain, and starting to take away from like the physicality of people. That actually makes perfect sense to me.
I don't think that's it. I
I,
don't think that's it at all. But I understand like the theory behind it. I
it's
just
that, or it's them damn
it's
vaccines.
probably the vaccines. No, it's not that either.
Well, what is it?
No, people have been I think autistic people have existed forever. I think that we just know more about like neurology and developmental conditions in people. So I don't think that there's a rise to autism. I don't think that there's been an increase. I think that more people are understanding what it is and are realizing that it's more common than people thought it was previously. Like
Yeah.
there's this big joke about people like so autism is a genetic thing. Like it's not usually like if you're autistic, either your parents are autistic or like there's some other autistic person in your family somewhere. And the joke is always that somebody will find out that they're autistic and their parents are like, there's no way you're autistic. Or like the grandparents are like, there's no way you're autistic. But it's like flashback to grandpa who's like obsessively collecting stamps and like has all these like very specific like autism traits that just they don't think are autism, but it is. So yeah, that's what I think. I don't think it's like a sudden rise of like autism evolution happening. But I do think that like our brains and like we are changing as a result of our smartphones and like technology and everything. There's no denying that. Um I just don't think these babies though. I don't think they're the next step. And I don't know. I think that's a really dumb part of this movie. I definitely didn't like this movie as much as the first one.
Yeah.
I feel like this one just I don't know. Let's just get to the next one when it's just an island full of babies because, like, I feel like it just needs to get more insane. And this is, like, barely even a step up. Like,
Yeah.
I
This
feel
is
like
like
the way it ended in
this
the
is a
first
requel.
one, yeah, the way it ended, and even the way it ends here, where they're like, it's going to be an epidemic. Like there's going to be millions of them born.
Yeah.
Like I feel like this should have started where it was like every person that was pregnant was like terrified that their baby was going to be one of these and like
Mm-hmm.
a police state had descended upon the nation because they're like trying to put all the pregnant women in like camps so they can monitor them or something.
Yeah.
Or like, there's just so many people being killed and murdered by babies. That's not what happens. This is just like there's three of them.
Yeah. I mean, you should have worked on the sequel, babe.
I guess so.
You know what the most unbelievable moment in this movie is for me?
What?
It's that two women, especially like maybe a 30-something-year-old woman and like a 56-year-old woman, they decide to go to the movies together. And what movie did they go to see together? Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee.
They
What?
I thought that she was told to go to that movie because it was like the specific
Where they're going to meet.
showtime.
Yeah. Yeah. I still
Maybe they
feel
wanted to see Bruce Lee.
I feel like they still just waited in the lobby.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm not
Maybe
interested
they
in
were
this.
like
They're big
I don't know about
martial
her
arts
mom.
fans.
The mom does not seem like she
It was
would
just
be.
really funny to see them
The
in that
wife
theater.
seems like maybe she would.
No.
But the mom, no way.
No.
I think the wife could be a secret Bruce Lee fan.
I disagree.
You never know.
You never know. But what I do know is Eugene in this movie is a jealous little loser who's like, why'd you let him touch you?
Oh my god.
Why'd you let him put your hands on you?
He
and then,
sucks.
like, they have a baby. She has like a freak demon monster baby.
They have a baby like a 2 weeks ago.
Very recently. And then he's like, why don't you want me to touch you? I just want to fucking have sex. But it's like,
I think he's like, I want to hold you, but like,
he wants
we know where that's gonna go.
Yeah, and it's like,
yeah, he sucks. I don't like him in this.
Yeah, he's not a good husband.
No,
for sure.
I mean, Frank's not the best either, to be honest. I don't feel like any of the guys in this are that great. This is a really weird franchise that's like all about like women giving birth to like demon babies, but like so much of the focus is on the men and like how they're gonna control the babies or like whatever.
Well, the men are the
and
heroes.
Like even in the end when we get the mom being like, I'm your mother, like forgive me, it just feels very like unearned and weird, and just like, shouldn't that have been like more of a focus of like, because I guess in the first one too, like the mom is like, she's like kind of psycho with the baby, and she's like, he's our child and everything, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It does feel secondary to everything else, right?
Yeah. I mean, they definitely become a smaller character. The
Yeah.
dad is the focus of these two films thus far,
Yeah.
for sure. The babies are named Adam and Eve since they're said to be the ones that are going to create the new race of these babies. But then they also say that there's going to be like millions of them born, so I don't even know why they need to reproduce yet, and that they need to focus on them specifically. But they want to just make sure that they're right and that these things can reproduce and how that's going to work. And it's like, yeah, they get them, they get killed off by them anyway, so they were definitely wrong. And one of the doctors is up in bed and he gets attacked by one of them, which is actually a really funny scene because
Oh yeah. We were really laughing about this.
he like goes to kind of fall asleep, and I think he feels something in the bed, and so like it jolts him awake, and he says, "Gotta wake up at 5 o'clock."
No, I think he like remembered that he has to wake
Yeah,
up and like sets his alarm.
but it's the way he reacts.
He like
It's like
yells,
he's like scared. He jumps up like he's having a
but then
nightmare. I gotta
the
get up at 5 a.m.
the way he says,
Or I gotta get up in
I
5 hours.
gotta get up at 5.
I gotta get up at
I gotta
5.
get up at 5 o'clock, I think is what he says. I gotta
Something
get up
like
at five
that.
o'clock. But he says it so like softly and kind of like under his breath, and like not at all the same energy as when he yelled.
It's
It's
funny.
very funny. Gotta get up at 5 o'clock.
So
We
then
were
he's
laughing at
attacked
that.
by a monster baby, and the alarm is going off because he goes to set it, and then the baby attacks him, so it goes off as he's trying to set it. And he's screaming out as he's being attacked, and then people in the house come out and say, "Did you hear that alarm? Are you hearing like an alarm?" They heard the alarm,
Yeah, but
but
not the
not the man
screaming.
screaming and getting killed by a monster.
Yeah, I think this is also where the movie like really falls apart, is like this final act, because it's kind of supposed to be like a big action sequence in a way,
Yeah.
or at least like have this suspense of like now all three babies are loose in the house, and it just doesn't feel like that at all.
Yeah. What's really funny about this, though, is that Eugene gets attacked in the pool by
Yes.
one of the creatures, and the cops come in and just start
Oh my
blasting,
god.
and it's like on his
Yeah,
head,
they're
and there's
just,
like a few
yeah.
cops all just shooting like quickly, and somehow he's fine. He
He's all
doesn't even
right.
really have any marks on him.
Yeah.
They didn't hit him with any of those bullets. These guys are dead accurate. If they fired like 5
I'm
bullets
calling
each.
bullshit. I don't believe any of the cops in this movie. I think these are like the most like inept police force imaginable.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they let a single man, when there's like 500 of them at the hospital. Why none of them try to take him down is ridiculous to me. They all just stand there and they're just like, like what?
It's
Yeah, but
bad.
I guess yeah, he lives because they
Again.
are, yeah, they are good marksmen supposedly.
Yes, they are. Poor Cindy. Poor Cindy has a terrible little birthday party. She's got little shitty friends
She's
who
got
come.
really shitty
I don't know if that's
friends.
her sister or her friend, but they buy her this face makeup kit,
Like a
which
monster kit.
I have to believe that Rick Baker was the one behind that gift. It's like, this is what I'd want for my birthday when I was a kid. But she's given this molding set for face makeup, and the girl's like, says some shitty comment about how that'll make her better looking. Now
She's
I
like, you
thought that,
already look like that. Like you
oh,
don't need a kit.
oh, is
Like you
that what
already
it
look like
is?
a
Yeah,
monster or
something like
something.
something awful like that.
Yeah, she's like really mean to her.
uh I'm not gonna lie, I 100% thought Cindy was a boy.
She has a very androgynous haircut, but it totally, I think it looks like either a little boy or a little girl's haircut.
Yeah.
Like it's just like this kind of like shapeless bowl kind of
Yeah.
cut, I guess. Um Yeah, it's a lame party, and then they're like, "Let's go play hide and seek," and like she doesn't want to do it,
They're being really shitty to her.
and then she almost gets killed by
The rubberist of rubbery
yeah,
snakes.
the
Hey man,
rubberest of rubber
I'm
snakes.
actually I very much prefer them using a fake rubber snake in here as opposed to Tom
100.
Savini.
I was thinking about that actually. I was like, at least it's not a real snake that they're like gonna shoot. Then
Yeah, this is such a fake snake.
it's
This
so
reminds
fake.
me of the snake in Friday the 13th Part 3. That's like the 3D effect that comes up the camera, and it's like clearly a rubber snake on a string.
It's
That's what this is.
yeah.
This is clearly a rubber snake on a string. And then as soon as it's dead, her friend or her sister, I can't tell what it is, runs over and she's like, I'll never be mean to you again. And the acting
Oh my
between
god, the
them
other
is
one, she's like, I love your
so
present was my
bad.
favorite or something.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny. I'm like, why did they even have those lines? Like what?
Do you think that
So
this baby, even though it couldn't even possibly conceive of like a birthday party as a thing, it seemed like it was angry
if it's
that
like
it's
the
like
Ubermensch, so it's like it does know. It like is aware. It
mm,
knows. I think that they're supposed to be really intelligent, but I just don't feel like we actually get any of that in these.
oh
They kind
no.
of like they do say something like I feel like there's some comment made about their intelligence, but I don't feel like it's shown. I feel like they should be doing tests with them, like solving puzzles or
Yeah.
something, like something to show like how crazy evolved they are. But I do think that the baby is supposed to like realize like that's a birthday cake and like is like angry about
It's mad.
it.
I don't get a birthday. I'm
Like I
not.
was just born.
Yeah, where's my birthday cake?
Yeah,
I'll never have this. I'm never gonna have like a normal
makes me
childhood
sad.
like these little fuckers
Uh huh.
who are mean to each other. Um, yeah, I I don't know. I know. Isn't that in this one where right before they shoot one of them, or right after they shoot one of them, they're like, I think it was trying to say something.
Oh yes, it is. Yeah, they go in and they shoot one, and the cop that shoots them is like, "Did you see that? It looked like it was gonna say something." I'm like, "Did
And
it?
it's like,
It didn't look like it was gonna say anything to
it's like
me." It was the
I,
same like awful shot that we always get of the babies, where they're like,
or it's just a doll sitting there. It's like I've understood the errors of my ways and I can
"I'm
change.
sorry, I will never kill again."
Yeah, it's possible. That's what he was gonna say,
Maybe
but they never gave him the chance.
that's sad. Now I don't like that.
They just came in and were blasting.
It's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I love how the cops give guns to civilians. They're just like, here, take a couple handguns. Do you know how to use them? What the fuck? You want to
Yeah.
talk about bad
Again,
police work?
inept police officers.
Woo. The funniest part of this movie, and probably so I said the Bruce Lee thing is the most unrealistic thing. The most realistic thing I've seen in a movie in a long while is even though they were kidnapped out of the hospital and they were delivered in the back of the truck, the hospital still sends them the bill for delivering the baby in the hospital.
Yeah.
That shit made me laugh out loud. I was like, that is the most realistic
Like,
American.
What are you talking about? We have to pay for the delivery. We delivered a monster baby against our will.
Yeah.
In a back of a truck somewhere.
This is 100% American healthcare system right here.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, you had an aspirin, that's $40. You walked through the door, that's $5,000.
You breathed our air.
Yes.
You blinked in the light.
Yeah, the fact, and for anyone who's in another country where you have a single payer healthcare system, I'm jealous.
Very jealous.
But yeah, in America, this is so funny to me, and like in a really tragic, very
dystopian, funny.
But yeah,
like,
they're
not
like,
funny,
yeah, we're gonna send them the bill. Although back then, having a baby in a hospital was probably like $20.
100. They're like $25.
Yeah, $25 for a baby.
Dang.
Jesus.
They go pay.
I could have bought a house with that.
Could have bought a home. Yeah.
I could have bought a house and a car.
100 and paid for college.
My tuition free state college.
Baby.
Yeah. But then, of course, all the adults now are like, I know I only paid $2,000 for my college, but I think you should shut the fuck up because you had to pay $60,000 per semester.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like $500,000. And
they're like, why can't you guys move out of your parents' house? I had a home and a car and a wife and 3 kids by the time I was 14.
By the time it's 14. Yeah.
And I'm like,
And a
you mean when
degree.
things were literally like when they used to make literal half cents?
Yeah, I can't even imagine a half cent.
Yeah, they used to make
I don't even know
half
what to do with
pennies.
pennies most of the time.
Well, they've been trying to phase them out for a long time
Makes sense.
because they are useless.
I mean, I have paid with like exact change before, don't get me wrong. But I don't even pay with cash.
But if everything is rounded up to 5 or down, that's
Yeah.
not going to make any difference.
No.
So, yeah, no. Anyway.
Times are changing.
We'll tell that to the guys from Office Space that just round off the fractions of cents into their bank accounts. Have you ever seen
I have
Office
seen
Space?
Office Space, yeah.
And then they like check their account like a week later and they have like hundreds of thousands of dollars in there and they're like, oh shit, we fucked up. Anyway. And so then somehow they got a fumigation tent over their house without them hearing
ridiculous.
it or seeing it. And I think their plan was to just murder all of them.
I think they're trying to like knock them out, but maybe not. I thought it was like sleeping gas.
Pretty sure it's
and then they're gonna go kill the baby.
Gas.
It might be murder gas. It wouldn't be surprised if it was murder gas.
I just don't.
Yeah, they don't notice. They're having like this like weird moment where they're like feeding their baby raw meat, like in a wholesome way, and then the dad like looks out the window, is like, "What is this?" Like he sees the tent.
How do you get a fumigation tent over a house without anyone hearing or seeing it happening?
It's so funny.
I mean, how did the Great Mutato do this in the X-Files episode?
Yeah.
I don't know. The answer is it's impossible.
Yeah, you don't do that.
You can't put a fucking, as we look outside and we have a fumigation tent, we just start seeing oh no.
Yeah.
And they're like, they haven't sealed it up over there. You can get through a fucking fumigation tent.
I think the
just get a knife.
Fumigation tent is just so funny to me because it's like, why you guys have 500 men?
Yeah, you can't go in there and just shoot the baby.
What happened to like, I don't know, SWAT teams and like coordinated attacks?
Not
the fumigation tent is
not in this town.
So weird.
They're like, you know what? Let's just call them the exterminators. We need this thing exterminated.
Yeah.
You call the exterminator. I went in the phone book and I found out they have somebody for this very job. Got a pest?
Beep beep beep. Oh yeah.
Don't
Another
call the
thing
rest.
That's funny in this because like
only call the best. I'm still going with this.
I know,
joke.
but it made me think of the phone stuff, like the phone situation in here. Like they keep talking about these like direct lines, and I'm like, what the? Because I never had a shared like line like that, but there was obviously a time in the 70s where like you would have to call the operator, or you like having the direct line because like at one point when they take him to the state house, he's like, just dial 7 and it like goes straight to them. And, like that is so bizarre to think because I don't know, the phone situation in the back in the day is weird. I also found out, this is a side note that I learned from an old coworker that was like I think a kid in like the 60s, I think, saying that they had shared like they would have a phone line for the whole town. So like you could pick up the phone and hear somebody,
your neighbor's
like from somewhere else talking, and you had like that's wild. I'm like, I can't even imagine
if you're trying to have phone sex with your partner and like
did they do that then? There's no way people did that then.
Sure there were. They probably got off on it too. It was like voyeuristic.
Those freaks, those boomer freaks. Actually, those wouldn't be boomers. Those would be the people before the boomers. What generation is that?
The Zoomers?
No, they're like the forgotten generation. Isn't that like
the silent
actually
era.
The silent? But aren't they? What are they called? They had like a really sad name for that like generation because of the fact that they were like kids during the Great Depression and stuff.
The depressed generation.
There is some. I remember.
I thought it was the silent. Isn't that? That's not what it was.
I thought it was forgotten.
Jesus.
Which is messed up.
I forgot. See, we don't even remember. That's irony. If it really is the forgotten, and we forgot, that's bad.
We're bad.
That's bad.
Yeah. Anyway, and then Frank, like, he gets Murderized.
I would think that the gas that they're pumping in there would be flammable. So if you lit up, when he shoots the gun, it should
Oh
have
yeah, that's what
ignited
you
the
said.
house.
I don't know. I don't think all gas is flammable.
Let's check it.
In fact, it definitely isn't. I don't know.
What gas?
I don't know much about gases actually. Now that I think about it, because I was like, oxygen isn't flammable, but then I was like, yes, it is.
What the hell are you talking about? Have you seen fucking Halloween 2?
Yes.
It's time, Michael. And he just lights it and nothing happens. And he's like, shit, it's oxygen.
Somebody that knows stuff about
like fire
science.
Literally like consumes oxygen.
Yeah, I
like
realized.
In order to snuff out a fire, you have to get rid of the oxygen.
Maybe it's just pure gases that are flammable and certain combinations of gases that might be flammable, but other substances, when they're made into gases, are not flammable.
I mean, my farts are like a bunch of different.
Because, well, what about what is that called? Like a smoke machine.
Neither of us know.
Okay.
So there's no point.
Moving on. It's not flammable.
There's no more moving on. This is it. We're at the end.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
People have checked out. They're talking about lighting their farts on fire.
You're talking about lighting
it. We have finally hit the lowest point on the channel. We forgot the forgotten.
I hope that's not their name.
And now we're lighting fucking gases on fire.
Maybe it is the silent.
Where did this go?
Frank gets killed.
Frank does die. Eugene takes his place. Will Eugene be mentioned in Island of the Alive? Stay tuned. If you're still here, guy.
One guy.
One person.
Hi.
Who's like Googling.
In the room with us.
What gases are flammable?
He's like, these are the gases. He's like.
How do you know it's not a her?
She's like. Autism is.
Oh, yeah. They're still typing that, though.
Autism is actually.
from way before. Yeah. We talked about the autism thing a long time.
I know.
If they're still typing about that, they are autistic. That's a good litmus test right there. If you are still typing about the autism thing currently, you are autistic. Only an autistic person would be that committed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Groggy says, thanks for joining us on Monster Monday, and I'm very glad I wasn't snuffed out at birth, even though I look like a monster sometimes.
He does not.
He's a creature.
He's a little
He's a creature of the night. No one can even see what we're talking about. They probably don't even think we have it.
You ever think that we're all creatures?
We are.
So
we just figured out how to stand on two legs and shave ourselves to look respectable.
I'm gonna stop doing that.
We just need
time for all fours.
Caveman days.
Time for all threes.
All threes?
I'm gonna keep one hand free for things, but then I'm gonna walk around on my other three legs and arm.
What?
Yeah.
No. Well, I'm currently single for anyone who's interested, since my wife has decided to run off with the cave people, join the cave
I'm going
cult.
to the island.
The Island of the Alive? Or
yes.
The Island of the three-legged freaks?
They're not freaks.
You're not a freak?
I'm a freak.
I'm
a freak. And I know it.
I thought you were going to go with Silverchair's freak.
That's what I was trying to go with.
That's not the lyrics. That's not even remotely the lyrics or the tune.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm a freak.
Okay, that's what I was trying to go.
Nature.
That's not what I was trying to go with.
Not even close.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.